Well, you can't. We're surprised you're drinking. Before you joined, we were just talking about how freaking ripped you are in Artificial, dude. You're like,
the music video for Artificial. Dude. For those who haven't seen it, man, I mean, that was straight out superhero, Marvel, dude. DC, whichever one. I know you done more stuff for DC.
I dabble in both.
But, okay, yeah. Well, you look like you could play two different fucking characters in both franchises.
Well, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. I've been trying. Dude,
what's the regiment like though? Because like you just said, real quick, don't mean to cut you off.
No.
Let me set you up. Let me set the table for you here, and you can finish off the course. Like you're looking jacked as always. You've always been in shape. You've always been. I know from our previous conversations and everything like that. I know that you're very fitness oriented. You're very mindful of all that. So you've always been in good shape. But like Sam just mentioned right there, we were both watching the music video for Artificial that came out last year in 2023. And you're just absolutely shredded. You were kind enough, even with obviously how well you take care of your body, you're kind enough to notice my couple pounds of weight loss. So I appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
But, I like to work out. I like to take care of myself. It's part of the reason why I stopped drinking recently was because I wanted just to feel better, be healthier. And, as I said, and in that, I like to consider myself pretty health conscious in a certain way. But nothing like what you got going on there, brother. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about your fitness journey and what your routine is?
Well, thank you for one. I haven't always been. I've had like a love-hate relationship for fitness or with fitness for my entire life, or ever since I was like a teenager. And I think a lot of if I really dig deep and go, what was the attraction to it? I think it was comic books and action films. Like, I think my fascination with like that aesthetic and that physique kind of stemmed from watching a ton of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies as a kid and my obsession with comic books. And so I started training pretty hard when I was in high school because I was a stick figure. And I just started pounding like, weight gainer and terrible tasting supplements and lifting every day during lunch. And then, I get into my, I get married and kids and life and it all just goes out the window. And then I try to get back in shape and then touring happens. And then that definitely was like a recipe for disaster, just late night eating garbage, the late night Taco Bell stops at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Stop explaining my life story, guys.
And just drinking it was just ridiculous for years. And I remember in like 2010 or somewhere around that area, I would see pictures of myself going, who the fuck is that dude? I put on like 30 pounds. And those pictures exist. They're all over the internet. They're hilarious.
Yeah. We actually brought a couple to show you. I'm just kidding. That would have been fucking. I wish I was that good of a host and just had it ready for you.
And then we had twins, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna start taking this seriously. And I took it seriously for a while, and then long story short, COVID happened, and I was like, I had nowhere to go. As everyone else, as well as everyone else, and I just was like, you know what? I keep kind of going back and forth on this fitness, then not so fitness, and I was like, I just have to like make it a lifestyle. I just have to, because I was tired of getting ready for photo shoots and then backtracking and then having to get ready. So I was like, why don't I just live ready? And so I just started doing the work and changing my diet and, like I said, cut out booze and weed and cigarettes and, which all kind of amplified during COVID at first. Like that first 6 weeks was like a party.
Oh, for everybody.
It was noon.
What the fuck are we going to do now?
I'm making cocktails at noon. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to, I'm kind of a creature of habit. So once I kind of got into a routine, I made that my addiction, and there's been no looking back ever since. And it was years and years of consistency. Like when I say eating almost the same shit every day with like a few variables, like my diet is almost like you can clock it on any even with traveling. I try to, like yesterday, I'm like looking at the menu and I'm like, I don't know. Can you see if the chef can just grill me 2 chicken breasts and some asparagus? Like it's boring as shit, I'm telling you. But it's how I've learned to live, and I try to keep it as consistent as possible. I train pretty much every day, whether it's walking or weights, or I try to get like 15 to 20,000 steps a day, so that if I do decide to go to the movies later and have a big ass bucket of popcorn and peanut M&Ms, then it kind of offsets it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. What I find so interesting in your nowadays routine, or now that it's been a few years, is it doesn't sound that much crazier than what I try to do. Yet you look like you do, and I look like I do.
Well,
there's
like I said,
let's get into some specifics in here.
It has been years. It has been years of consistency, and I started honestly training harder than I ever had. I used to avoid legs at all costs, and I have a trainer.
Can't skip leg day, dude.
I have a bodybuilder friend of mine who's like my mentor and trainer, and he was like, you got to train your back and legs more than anything else. And once I started doing that, I started like building all over. And I mean, when I train, I go hard, and I can't really do it on show days because I started realizing that it kind of affects my voice for whatever reason. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, just causing overall inflammation in the body. And then by the time I get on stage, my throat feels super tight. So I try to keep like if we're in arenas or whatever, we'll do the stairs or jog around the corridor, or just do something to keep some sort of movement. And I've gotten to the point where if I'm sitting for a couple hours, I start to lose my mind, and I have to go for like a long walk because I feel like I'm turning into a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an obsession / addiction / keeping myself accountable. And now that I've put that video out there with Artificial, now I'm like, I'm terrified. I have dreams. I have nightmares of going backwards, and
dude,
and so like that's real.
So are you going to go forward then? Are you going to get bigger? What's your
no?
Game plan?
Right now, it is all maintain.
You don't fuck with perfection.
I'm not trying to look like Glenn Danzig or anything like that. Or I already see pictures of me on stage. I'm like, am I looking too big? I might want to dial it back a little bit.